Your plain book probably says 332 is today's lesson. We may not get to that. So if we don't get to that, obviously we'll slow down a tiny bit. But still, you should go ahead and try the 332 homework if you have a chance, because by the end of day, we'll be done with everything that you need to know. If you are not able to turn in your homework by the end of the day, I know I told you to skip 94. We're going to do that today in class. Okay, we're going to do 94, so please don't turn in your homework to that. 94 is probably not done unless you figured it out on your own. But if you're having other homework difficulties, I wrote you a letter. Dear, insert your name. I'd like to invite you to attend math lunch! Exclamation point. It's a really great time where we eat and get our math work done so we have less to do at AO or extensions. Notice, I don't even talk about home because I'm not living in the delusion that you guys actually do work at home. This was supposed to say I'd love to see you there. It was either going to say hope to see you there or I'd love to see you there, but I left it saying both things, I guess. I'd love to see you there. And then you'd sign it like you're a friend, right? Something nice. So, if you are having any homework issues, come to math lunch. So this is where we were last week, but I decided to draw a nice pretty picture for you guys. No joke, I had pizza yesterday. And no joke, you should have graph paper out. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge, some of us don't yet. We're going to do this problem together, because I actually didn't really teach you guys very much about that last week, so we're going to do this together, and then you can turn it in, either at the end of class or like later today. On your graph paper, I don't care if it's new paper or not, I need us to head this paper rationals. And today is 11/3, so we should probably have a date on our paper somewhere. At the root of the word rationals is another word that we've seen a lot of. Ratio. A ratio is when we compare two numbers. Rationals are just any number that can be represented by a number divided by another number. So exactly, what we talked about on Monday, that was all rational numbers. And it should say it on your notes. I believe I put a little thing on your notes about rational numbers by where it said like 3/4. It had that cool like little 3D looking 3/4. So here's the deal with rational numbers. They come from division. We'll go back to it. They come from division, but we need to understand what division is. So everyone put your pencils down for a second. Division takes what we have and makes what we want, right? So if I decide that I want to make these, my baby graph paper that people use for, little homework corrections or whatever, I would take 1 and divide it by what? 4, right? I make those little 4s. So division takes what we have and splits it into what we want. Because here, I got 1 3/8 pizzas, right? This is the problem that we left from Monday. I just made it really pretty because I felt like drawing pizzas. And legit, I had pizza yesterday. Legit, I brought pizza for lunch today. So I have leftover pizza, and I want to split it up into what I want to bring to school. But do I actually have fourths? Like when I look at how the pizza's sliced, do we actually have fourths? No, how is the pizza sliced up? Into eighths. So we might as well work in eighths, right? So while we don't need a common denominator, it can be useful. So guys, go ahead and write this down on your graph paper. 1 3/8 divided by 3/4. But then we're going to switch our 3/4 to have that denominator of 8. And if you don't remember how, it's on the next screen. But chat with your teammates real quick. And let's go ahead and make that mixed number into an improper number. It's just going to make our life easier. Go ahead and make 1 3/8 improper. Make 3/4 have a denominator of 8. Take about a minute or so with each other. Try and do this on your own before I show you how. Rachel, or Miss Martin, I had new glasses coming. Yeah. Contacts just bother my eyes. Like, I feel like my eyes have too much pressure. Yeah. Gotta trust the professionals. Do you know how to make improper? So, whole number times the denominator, then added. So what do we get when we do 8 plus 3? No, wait a minute. Why do you work written down and Antonella doesn't? Antonella, ask them. If you don't know how to do it, ask them. Yeah. Ooh, I don't put keep flip. That's not what I said to do. Did the words keep, change, flip come out of my mouth? No, they did not. Not today. Here is what I asked you to do. Well, not that, but John, if you really want to write it down, it was just rationals is a number divided by a number. We'll write that down again. Don't really worry about getting that on your paper. To common denominator, which we said we don't need, but it's going to make life nicer. We do times 2 times 2. This is the work we should have written down. Guys, I'm going to tell you, I put a lot of work into this lesson because I want to make sure that you guys understand this. Please write this stuff down and ask if something doesn't make sense. To improper. Guys, if you forget to improper, look up here. 1 multiplies by your denominator, right? Whole number times your denominator, and add it. Guys, what we're really doing is saying, how many pizza slices do we actually have? 11, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We have 11 eighths, right? Because each of these slices is an 8. So 11 eighths divided by, what was 3/4 if I make them into eighths? 6 eighths. So really, I'm a big boy, and I'm going to eat 6 slices of pizza for lunch. Right? Not really. I'll tell you, this is not the truth. This is just a math problem from the book. So, guys, what we're really doing with this, 11 eighths divided by 6 eighths, Eli, here's where it happens. What we're really doing is saying, I've got 11 slices, and I want to make, like, why can't I think of the word, containers, like leftover containers, right, to go to school with me, of 6 slices. These eighths don't really matter. What I'm doing is taking 11 slices and dividing it by 6. This is really 11 divided by 6. Because it's 11 slices that I'm splitting up into, take-home containers or take-to-work containers. And Eli, when I walked around, said, yeah, we can just keep, change, flip. Guys, if we don't know keep, change, flip, look up here. And even if we do know keep, change, flip, look up here. I'll show it to you again so you don't need to write this down. If we do 11 eighths, but now change this to multiplication and flip the second fraction, when we have, I got some eyes that look like they're looking at me, but they're not. When we have those common denominators, what actually happens after keep, change, flip is they end up on top and bottom. And what does the same number on top and bottom do? It cancels out, right? Cross reduces. So I get 11 over 6. 11 divided by 6. Which would, well, how many times can I pull 6 out of 11? Once. And then how many slices would I have left over? How many slices? Take 6 away from 11, right? 5. How many slices did I want to take to school? 6. right? I wanted 6 slices to go to school with me. This probably still kind of doesn't make sense. I got another problem for you. Okay, we can come back to this if you want, but I got another one that probably makes a bit more sense. That's just the same problem again. Okay, write this down in your paper. 1 3/8. This is more realistic. 1 3/8 divided by 3/8. Guys, this is like true. When I bring pizza as leftovers, I bring 3 slices. Right? I bring 3 slices normally. I'll eat like 2, 2.5. So if we had some friends over and we got some extra pizzas, sorry that this won't fit up in here. If you want to complain about it, this is why. See how the picture covers up the other picture? So sorry, these go there, but my pictures just won't work well together. Talk with your teammate, solve this problem. How many days of leftovers can I get, and what do I have, like, left over from my leftovers, right? What doesn't make a whole batch of leftovers? What do I have extra just kind of left? So I would make it improper, and then if you want to keep change split, you can, or you could just take your one number divided by the other. Make sure that you made this look like a separate problem by like a squiggly line splitting them up or something. This is a separate problem. And now that this is starting to make some sense, you guys can work on 94 if you want, while you're waiting for us to come back together. You can work on 94 if you still need to do it. You guys can work on, if you're done with this one, you can work on the 331 problems that we skipped or haven't gotten to yet. You can always keep your homework out if you want to work on that as well. Let's bring it back together. How many pizza slices do I actually have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So that's 11/8. That's what I have. What do I want to take to school? 3/8. Guys, let's look, give me your eyes, put your pencil down, let's look at this. I'm going to take this and split it up. Come on. I know, I hit the, let me move it. 3/8. Right, that's one of my leftover containers going to school. This will feed me for a day. Another 3/8. Another leftover container going to school. Another 3/8. Another leftover container going to school. What do I have left? 2. What do I actually want in here? 3. So my answer should come out to be 3 and 2/3. Let's try that doing keep, change, flip, right? So 11/8, I keep it. 11/8, change to multiplication, flip this guy. And guys, even if I don't cross reduce, it'd be 88 over 24. 24, 48, 72. But guys, again, I could have cross reduced, right? I'll show the cross reducing in a second. I'd get 3 and my leftover would be 16 over 20, but that's kind of that's bigger numbers than I need to deal with. Guys, this is why we talked about cross-reducing. Go back. Make your life easier. If I see a number on top and bottom that are the same, they wipe each other out. So if we really have 11 over 3, 3, 6, 9. Okay, so 3 and 11 minus 9. 2/3. Is this making a little bit more sense now? We're taking all the food in the fridge and splitting it up into containers. Leftover pizza bonanza. Try this. With your teams, if we have 2 1/4 pizzas left, and guys, I pretty much always bring 3/8 for lunch. 2 1/4 pizzas. I don't mind safety pins so long as we're also doing the math. To get the math done, then play with safety pins. Don't poke yourself though. Isn't it ironic they're called safety pins, but they're really kind of dangerous? I think it's a good idea to talk in eighths. So I went ahead and said, well, really, I have 2 2/8. Right? Really, that's 2 2/8 divided by 3/8. Chat with each other. If someone in your group doesn't understand it, talk with them. How many slices do I actually have? 18, right? Or if I make this improper, it's 18 eighths. I ordered a lot of pizza, and apparently we didn't eat very much. 18 eighths. I want to make leftover containers that each have 3 eighths. Okay, brain thinking. As opposed to stomach thinking. No, I'm pretty much always stomach thinking. So we really have 18 eighths splitting up into 3 eighths. When the denominators are the same, they're going to work real nice and get rid of each other. Because when we keep, change, flip, you guys can write this work down, especially if you haven't seen it like this before. Sorry, my K looks a little weird. 18 eighths. Make this multiplication. I'm actually going to make that red. Make that multiplication. We flip. So 8 thirds. Ooh, cross reduce / cross cancel, right? Like they get rid of each other. Ooh. What's 18 divided by 3? 6. This is a nice answer. It's just 6. Kylie, your hand shot up. Oh, you were like, yeah, got it. Woo! That was the hand shot up. Questions. Ooh. All right, let me sit down for this. I have an easier way, he says. Go ahead.
So we did contribute, right? Can you just do that with the 18 3? 1 and 6.
Say it again, but say it slowly.
We can also contribute the 18 3 to make 6 and 1.
That's not bright enough. 18 and 3 have a common factor. Careful, factor and multiple I always used to switch up. Factor that they can be divided by. Right? What is that factor? Ooh, close. What can 3 be divided by? That 18 can also be divided by 3. So what Aiden's saying is if I divide both of these by 3 on top and bottom, this becomes a 1, kind of like what the 8s did. But this becomes a 6, and that's just our answer. So he is absolutely right. You don't have to do that, but you can. Yeah, it's nice. Questions? Do we have time left? Yeah, of course we're going to keep doing. Did we solve this 1 and 3? Yeah, that's just a copy of my page. Yeah, we're going to get there, but we're still on 3-90. Hold your horses there, Johnny boy. Gerald loves to cook, and his aunt lives in Switzerland. Sorry, visited Switzerland. She brought him back 4 pounds of Swiss chocolate. That's why she's his favorite aunt. Gerald's favorite cookie recipe needs 3/4 of a pound of chocolate. So if we want to answer how many batches of his favorite cookies Gerald's able to make, wow, that sentence was hard to say. We need to take what he got and divide it by the amount needed for each batch. Well, how much did he get from his aunt? 4 pounds. Write down 4. We're not doing B. Like, not right at the moment. Divide it, Lucas.
Divide by 3/4.
Wait.
But also my neighbors that are currently live in Belgium, they came back for a little bit and they gave us like 2 big bars of Belgian chocolate.
Well, where's mine? Don't tell us about this unless you brought some to share.
No.
Then you're just making us all jealous is all you're doing. How could I turn 4 into a fraction?
4 by 1.
4 over 1 or 4 divided by 1, yeah. So guys, if I wanted to model this, right, if I want to make sense of it, watch, give me your eyes up here real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? We start with 4. I need to split into 3/4. So, batch 1, batch 1, batch 1, that's 3 of my 4ths, right? Batch 2, batch 2, batch 2, batch 3, batch 3, batch 3, but that's kind of silly. Why don't you guys just do keep, change, flip and solve this? Keep, change, flip. I mean, you can keep watching me, but this feels kind of silly. Keep the first fraction, change to multiply, and flip it. Flip the second fraction. Do my 4's cancel? No, because they're both on top. Be careful. When we have top and bottom, this is division. When we change it to multiplication, now both 4's are on top. So we get 16 divided by 3. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. Yeah, 5 and 1/3 left over because this little chunk of chocolate doesn't get used. Oh yeah, I would eat it too. I'd like shave it up and put it on hot cocoa, right, as it gets cold or something like that. Questions on splitting up our chocolate. If we had 4 pounds, these 3/4 show batch 1. These 3/4, batch 2, batch 3, batch 4, batch 5, 1 we didn't use. Let's try part B here. Lauren is bringing food to a party, and she bought a 4-foot party sub. Yeah, 6 foot, it's normally too big. 6-foot sub is way too big. She cut it into servings that were 3/5 of a foot long. So if we were to write out what we have divided by what we want, what do we have? Ooh, how much? 4. So we can put it over 1 to make it a fraction. 4 over 1 is what we have. What do we want to split this up into? 3/5, right? Every sub is going to be 3/5, so we want to split it up into 3/5. Go ahead and keep change flip this one. Try this on your own. Keep change flip, then multiply. Keep change flip, then multiply. And then we can actually do our division. So multiply straight across, multiply straight across. Straight through the top, straight through the bottom. Ooh, I gotta pass back paper, you guys. 4 times 5 going across. 1 times 3. Ooh, yeah, 6 takes me to 18. What do we have left? 2/3. On your 331 worksheet, we'll do a couple more together if we want. On your 331 worksheet, or practice sheet, whatever you want to call it, I told you skip 94. Do it now with your partners. Each of these you can apply, keep change flip, and multiply straight through. Well, then chat with each other. Yeah. And if there's one negative, it stays negative. Anytime there are pairs, it becomes positive. Now, the pairs of negatives cancel each other out. Thank you. If you are not getting a homework back right now, you probably should come to math lunch. If you did not turn it in, it's pretty hard to get it back. What? Well, so once we keep change flip, this is going to be multiplication. And when we multiply with one negative number, it makes a negative answer. So you can go ahead and up in your answer space, put a negative, so you remember it's going to become negative. We're going to do these together. So the work I should see written down is what this becomes after you keep change flip it. So I should not see just answers, right? This is another problem when I look at your homework. I should not see just answers. So when I keep my first fraction, change to division, and flip my second fraction, I could cross-reduce. And if you recognize that, great. But I'm not going to cross-reduce because not all of us are comfortable with that yet. So this would become 18 over 4, or 4 2/4, or 4.5 if you reduce it. Questions on that? Questions on that first one? They were both positive. Deekshita?
Last night I did 3 divided by 1, and then 4 divided by 6.
It'd be 6 divided by 4. The 6 is on top, the 4 is on bottom. It would be 6 divided by 4. So what you would have gotten is 3 and 1.5. 3 times 1.5 makes 4.5. 3 times 1.5 makes 4.5. But what we want to do, let's do another one. Let's do B. Keep 5/12, change to multiply. Guys, this is kind of like what math lunch is like. We just get together, look at your homework problems, and do them. So, other way I'll pitch this, if you just want to go somewhere else for lunch, if the cafeteria is like too much, but you got to do math if you come to math lunch. Keep, change, I still got to flip. So I flip and I put 6 over 1. Guys, eyes. Sorry, I always say guys. That encompasses boys and girls, by the way. There's a negative here. My advice is always put it on top. But also, we said think about it first and put it out in your answer. Will this stay negative or become positive? Stay negative because there's only 1. So out of my answer spot, I'm going to put a negative before I even start thinking about the numbers. I could cross-reduce 6 and 12, but I'm not going to because not all of us are good at that yet. So I get 30 over 12, which can reduce to negative 12/24. So I think 2 and 6, I think, is what's left. I think negative 2 and 6/12. So this is for B. For B, I believe. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, 2 and 6/12, right? So now I'm going to erase A so I can do C. So for C, we would have done keep negative 2/3, but I'm going to put it on top, right? I always put my negative on top. Change to multiply. Flip to 2 over 1. Is my answer going to be negative or positive? Negative 4 over 3. Questions. This needs to be down on our homework paper too. In D, we just got an improper first. So 2 times 3 is 6. Plus 2 more is 8. So I think it's negative 8/3. Change your division to multiply. Flip your second fraction. But guys, what's a negative times a negative going to be? Positive. 8 times 2. Yeah, so we get 16 over 3, which is also 5 1/3. If the entire thing is done, you may turn it in. If you need help on any of it, come to math lunch. If you need help on any of that, come to math lunch. And then get your graph paper back out. We want to practice a couple more of these. '92 is a little weird. So on your graph paper, 0.016, but that's not the nice way to say that. Divided by 0.25, but that's not the right way to say that. Rewrite those decimals as fractions. Then we're going to use keep, change, flip to make this manageable. Who are we looking for? What place is this? Yeah, tenths, hundredths, thousandths. Guys, this is the trick I started doing when I was in school, like to make sure I counted my decimal places right. 1 underline, 2 underlines, 3 underlines. So thousandths. So 16 thousandths divided by, how do I say this? 25 what? 25 hundredths. I should really just like get rid of this. So now keep, change, flip. Keep, change, flip. It's not Kentucky Fried Chicken. So I'm going to write it in green because it's a lot nicer now. 16 over 1,000 times, when I flip this, I have 100 divided by 25. Now hold on. Life can get real easy here. He said it. Oh no. He said the E word. What could I cross reduce? Who can tell me what to do? Lucas? The 100 and the 1,000 can both divide by 100. So guys, if you want to write the work, we divide by 100 on top and bottom. When we do that, though, we get 1 and 10. You don't have to cross reduce, but it makes things better. Because if we cross reduce, we get 16 over 250. If we don't cross reduce though, we get 1,600 over 25,000, and stacked zeros can cancel out, right? Stacked zeros. This becomes 16 over 250. That's our answer. But can I write 16 250ths as a decimal? No. So if we had 16 250ths, and this was on our follow-up from chapter 2 that some of you still need to turn in because everybody did that. John, what are you trying to tell me to do? Make this denominator nice?
Yeah, multiply by 4.
If we want to, I can't really get to 100 because it's not nice, but I can get to 1,000. So John said do times 4. That is correct. 1632, double that, yeah, 64. 64 thousandths. I should still see pencils moving. 64 thousandths. So, let's talk about the rest of the week. I am still making my way through the follow-ups. I have all of them graded. I just don't have them in my book yet. I think question 4, for those of you that are still working on it, I think question 4 is going to be like kind of sort of forgiven if we made mistakes because it's a lot of order of operations. But questions 1, 2, and 3 on the follow-up are pretty important. If you need help on the follow-up, please come to math lunch. Right? If you're working on the chapter 2 follow-up and it's difficult, come to math lunch. You probably need to work with me. Okay? Here's the deal. Class is obviously over. We did not start 332 yet. My advice is still do it tonight. Get a head start on your homework. But if you have other stuff like revisions, get that stuff caught up. You kind of got gifted a night here. So, happy November. No new homework November, I guess. Happy November 3rd. But yeah, we'll do 332 tomorrow. Have a great day, guys. Math lunch, math lunch, math lunch, people! Absolutely. I will open up the garage door if we need.